Do you like Asian food? I love Asian food. So we're about to make sticky soy and sesame meatballs. Now I've got some fabulous pork mince here, and into that I'm going to dice some spring onions and some ginger. Now I love ginger, and I used to be a little bit precious about my ginger, but now I'm way more prone just to give it a good wash, buy it nice and fresh, and then grate it directly into the dish. I've got a microplane here, and what I'm going to do is just grate this ginger. Don't worry too much about the skin. And then pop that in with the pork. Get the rest of it off the bench. Now the same, I've got some spring onions here. Just take the ends off. I'm going to chop them about halfway down. Don't throw the ends away because they can make quite a good garnish. I'm going to split these. And then just chop them really finely, just to go through the pork mix. Bit of a tip with a chef's knife. There should always be a piece of the knife on the board when you're doing this kind of work, and that stops the knife from flailing around and taking limbs off. So if you can try and remember to always have a piece of the knife in contact with the board, the chances are that you won't get fingers and thumbs caught under the knife. So I'll put my spring onions in there. Okay. Breadcrumbs. Soy. Now there's quite a bit of salt in soy sauce, so we won't season this dish with salt. We'll use the salt from the soy to season the mince. Some garlic, freshly crushed garlic, and some corn flour. Now, it's really important, clean hands, we need to work this mince. I'm going to lift it onto the board. When you work the mince, the proteins get broken down, and the mince will become quite sticky, which will help bind it together. Just keep working it. I can feel it's starting to stick to my fingers now. And that's about ready to go. So next, we're going to actually start rolling these balls up and popping them on some baked paper, which I've got ready here. A little tip for getting the shape and the size of the balls right is to break a piece off, try and get a consistent sort of size piece. Now I want to try and get these balls about 3 centimeters in diameter. It's important to try and get them all the same size if you can, because that way they'll cook at a consistent rate. And I find that 3 centimeters is about thumb and forefinger. So if I pop that in there, it's about thumb and forefinger. So I can keep rolling these out. Here's a little tip for you. If you're making a batch of these, it's often good just to take one of the early ones that you make, and cook it in a frying pan and just taste it, just to make sure you've got the seasoning right and that everything's right. So there we go, there's the last one. And I'm just going to wrap these now in cling and just pop them in the fridge to allow them to set for half an hour, just prior to us cooking them. So here we go. The meatballs have been in the fridge for about half an hour, so they've set. I'm going to take the cling off. Now I've got a pan here with a little bit of vegetable oil in. I just want to make sure there's a little bit of heat in the pan, which will actually stop the meatballs from sticking to the pan when I put them in. Now because they're on baked paper, they'll slide off really easily into the pan, and you can hear there's just a little bit of a sizzle there. So I'm going to start them cooking in the pan nice and slowly. Give them a gentle shake every now and then. Be quite gentle with them. You don't want to turn them into bolognese, so just give them a nice gentle shake and start to colour them up. Now while they were chilling, I've made up a sauce or a glaze that will go with the meatballs. Now this has got sesame oil, ketchup mayonnaise, sambal alec, which is chili, so just be a little bit careful, add the chili to your liking, some soy and some grated ginger. And we're going to use this to glaze the meatballs in the pan and actually to dress the meatballs just prior to them going on the plate. So these are cooked perfectly now. They've been cooking for 5 to 7 minutes. They've got a nice brown colour on the outside. So what I want to do next is just give them a light glaze with the sauce. Not too much, because I don't want it to burn in the bottom of the pan, so just a light dab. This is going to add a huge amount of flavour to these meatballs. And then, when we've glazed them, I'll just pop that down there for a second. We're just going to garnish them with some toasted sesame seeds. And again, the sauce will help the sesame seeds stick to the meatballs. Yum. My kids would be hovering around like vultures around about now. And then, there's quite a few in here, so I'm going to plate half of these up. I've got a few left, which is perfect because I can pop them into a Maltex food container So I'm going to load this container up, pop these in the freezer, which means in the middle of the week I can bring them out, load them into the microwave, and it's a really quick and easy meal for later in the week. Now with our dish over here, we're going to finish this off. Just need some colour on the plate here, so just some thinly sliced red chillies and just a few spring onions just to give it some colour on the plate. And hey presto, sticky soy and sesame meatballs, perfect with some steamed rice and vegetables as a midweek meal, but also great served as a canapé. Delicious.